Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Isaias. I'm the Advising Center Coordinator for the College of Science Advising Center. We are so excited that you're here with us today. This is kind of a pilot initiative that we've started this semester to kind of help our majors prepare for life after graduation, which is such an important piece and thing to think about. We may have freshmen on the call, sophomores, juniors, seniors. It's never too early to start thinking about what your plans are after graduation. Especially because many of you for CS, you may not necessarily go on to grad school, some of you may, but it's important to kind of just start thinking about that next step. So we have a few people on the call. Maybe we can start with the CS faculty and department chairs first. So Dr. Tang, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Daisy Tang. I'm the chair of the computer science department. Happy to be here to help you figure out maybe your future career choices.
Thank you. Dr. Asia?
Yes, hi, I'm Amar Raheja. I'm the associate chair of the department working with Dr. Tang. And I'm sorry, I apologize, I don't have my video on, but same thing here, hoping to help you folks figure out your career choices in computer science. Thank you.
Perfect. Ed, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning or good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ed Venegas. I am one of the career specialists at the Career Center, and I'm also the liaison to the College of Science. And I do love working with my computer science majors. You guys are lots of fun. So.
Thank you. And then we have some other folks from the Advising Center. Vanessa and Diana, if you want to just introduce yourselves really quickly.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa Lopez, and I am the Retention and Graduation Specialist in the College of Science Advising Center.
And hello, everyone. I'm Diana Asensio, one of the academic advisors in the College of Science Advising Center.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. And we also have an alumni. You're going to be able to hear from him a little bit later in the presentation, so I'll have him wait for his introduction. So this slide is going to be a shared slide between Ed and the computer science department. So go ahead and take it away.
Well, Ed, I'm going to start. So I guess you're all here because you're a computer science major. So have you ever thought about what you're going to do after you graduate with a maybe undergraduate degree and possibly maybe going to graduate school with a graduate degree? So for CS majors, they're probably done the research. There's so many options that you can do after you graduate. The most general one for our major is that we want to train you to be a software engineer. That basically means you need to learn how to design, develop, install, test, and maintain a big software system. Okay, so that's the very general category, say, software engineer that apply to many, many different companies. Okay, so now after that, there's several other options you can do. They are more specific in terms of what kind of interest probably you are particularly have in terms of in computer science, because CS is just too general, right? So if you're interested in cybersecurity, you could be a cybersecurity analyst. That basically means you're going to create and implement some kind of security system in order to protect maybe website, protect networks or data, okay? Because you've been reading, right, in the news, there has been so many cyber threats to particular system, right? So that job is to protect such system, detect such potential attack, and try to protect against that. And then you could also be a UX designer, which means for any software, right, you're going to think about how do you define or develop the interface such that it's going to produce a friendly experience for the user, no matter it's of the software or a website or some kind of system, right? How do you produce such a user-friendly kind of interface? Many of you joined computer science because you're interested in gaming, right? Producing video games. So game designer, that's also one of the job after, you graduate. You could create video games, doing animation, designing those characters. How do you automate these characters, right? And doing testing and so on. In recent years, data science has becoming a more popular kind of job in computer science. So that's why in our department, we have also created a data science minor. Even our CS majors, they can take this minor in data science. So what does data science do? Basically, it's making sense of data. When you have large quantity of data sitting on the web, on the cloud, how do you make sense of them? How do you kind of analyze those data, or developing like automated way of collecting those data such that you understand from this data set, here's my conclusion. I can ask a question, they give me some clue, right? So that's data scientist. You could also be a system architect. That means based on different computing needs, you're going to develop more of the fundamental software that will fit that particular system, tailored for a particular system. And followed by that, database administrators, developing, maintaining database for a company, making sure the user can access all those data in a smooth way. Mobile app developer, we all use mobile phone with lots of apps, Android apps or iOS apps. How do we develop those? They need to be customized to be suitable for those mobile phones, which has limited computing sources. So they will be different from those apps running on our PCs. Machine learning has also been a recent, very, very hot area in computer science, where you'll be developing those machine learning or deep learning algorithms, usually to tackle problems that they do not have any kind of like a straightforward solution. Because if a problem has a straightforward solution, you're going to implement it and solve it right away. But sometimes we don't have such a straightforward solution. You're going to develop machine learning algorithm to figure out what might be the close to optimal way of solving the problem. And continue after that, web developer, that's also one of the job, developing websites, maintaining websites, make it to be user-friendly. And recently in our alumni meeting, many of them also mentioned that a lot of the companies, they're going towards cloud-based solutions. So you could be a cloud engineer in that sense, knowing how to access clouds and doing cloud computing. And finally, I guess you reach the project manager level. After you've done some of those jobs for years, you get to manage a big project, creating the budget, schedule, managing personnel, coordinating team members, a lot of those work. So that would be project manager. So these are some of those common jobs you will see in computer science. Ed, do you want to add upon that?
Oh, no, I think this is great. And the good news is, from a career standpoint, all these options are in demand. I think computer science students, at least the ones I've been working with, their problem is not that they can't find a job, it's that they don't know which offer to accept. So I get students coming in with like 2 offers or 3 offers. And so we're trying to figure that out. So definitely a great major to be in, for sure.
Very cool. Actually, if you just Google these different, options, you can find about their kind of median salaries and so on, what kind of expectation you have. But of course, you want to find something that's aligned with your interest. That will mean you're passionate about. So even for undergraduate majors, you can get into those different fields. But if you're interested in pursuing advanced degree, computer science also has lots of, master program option, doctoral program option. So usually for master program, that's 2 years. Like at CPP, we also offer our own master program. So you can advance your CS knowledge, because in your undergraduate degree, you are mostly just learning those fundamental in CS. In your master degree, like here at Cal Poly, you're going to do a 1-year thesis, 1-year project with a faculty member on a subject that's of your own interest. So that's very helpful to gain those research experience. Also, like doctoral program, many of the institutions, research universities, they offer that. They're more so after the doctoral program, you can go into those research divisions in those big companies. They all have that. They're exploring those really front end, state of the art kind of projects. And then you can also go into national labs and universities. If you're interested in academia kind of job like us teaching at universities, then you do need a doctoral degree. So,
all right, thank you. We ready for the next slide? Okay. So Ed.
So here we looked at all the different, career fields, and, sometimes, we are not quite sure what that field might be, right? Or what it is exactly. And so when I'm working with a student, I talk about two things, and the first thing is to know it, right? So like to really understand and know what it's about, right? So the mental part. And so here we have some links that you can use. The main ones that I like to look at are, if you look at where it says occupational guides, it says Occupational Information Network, so ONET, and then Occupational Outlook Handbook. So if you can go ahead and look at those if you want while I'm talking. And the Occupational Information Network, it has lots of information related to the career you're looking at. And so you would just type in, you can put UX designer and things will come up. You can put software design, you can put anything in the search button, and it'll show you a list of related careers, and you can search in there. And then you'll have the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So go ahead and go to the Occupational Information Network. Yeah, cool. So there, and then at the upper right, it says Occupation Quick Search. Just put in software design. And there you go. And then just click on software developers. And so then it's going to list out all the information related to it, right? So it'll have a little brief summary of what they do. It'll have like the tasks, the technologies and skills, just a lot of great information. And then scroll all the way down toward the bottom. So you'll scroll down for a while. So yeah, right there. So in here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, the fourth link. Yeah, Occupational Outlook Handbook. So you can get that website on the main site or on here. I like this one a lot better because this one tells you how much they make on average. So, I mean, software developers, 6 figures on average. I know most of the students who graduate from here, I mean, I think the lowest I heard was like 70, which is fantastic. And I had one student, he was offered like 76 and a moving bonus to move from LA to Redlands for S3. So it's just, it's really cool, right? So I'm not saying we do it for the money, but money is important at the end of the day if you want to have nice things and take care of your family. Then also toward the top, you'll see these little tabs. So you see where the tabs are up, it says what they do. So yeah, you can click on those different tabs and you can read about this and see what they do. There's the work environment. So that's important to know too, because where you work is a big thing, okay? So having to work, like, let's say if you want to work at a company and maybe the company is in agriculture and you want to work more in a tech related company, then that would be important, right? And so knowing where you work at is a huge thing. Another thing, or maybe you want to work for like federal government, right? So federal government will be very different from a private sector. And so paying attention to stuff like that. Another thing is they got how to become one. So if you're a first year student or a second year, this is really good information to have. It'll talk about qualities, but it also, sometimes it'll show things like certifications or things that you might want to have on top of your education. And then the other tab, if we skip a few almost toward the end, similar occupations. Yeah, click on that. And then it'll show you other occupations that are related. So a lot of times I have students who come to me going, well, what else can I do besides this? I did an internship and I didn't really care for it. And so they're able to look at other opportunities and usually they're like, oh, okay, this is wonderful. This is really helpful. So you have access to this on the Career Center website. All right. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for that. And then choosing a major. So we do have a website called What Can I Do with This Major, and it's on there. And we don't have to share that. They can access that. And you can go in there, and what it'll do is it'll tell you for that major the different careers that you can do within there. And the way I like to use that is when students are looking for internships or a job, I tell them use those terms that they have, because it'll list, like, say, software developer, but it'll list like specific positions within software development. So it really narrows down your job search. Instead of making it like a chaotic search, you can actually pick things that you're really interested in doing. And so that might be useful. And then we do have the additional resources there, the MBTI careers and the Myers-Briggs. But I'm going to talk about this stuff in the next slide, I believe. Is it the next slide? No, not yet. So after this.
Ed, did you want me to go back to the other side, or you were done with that?
No, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Dr. Tang and Dr. Rahesia?
Yeah, so now you know a lot of good things about being a CS major. So how do you achieve there, right? So so on our department website, we offer kind of several of those links that will help you to match the electives you're taking with your career interest. So actually, if you click into that one, thank you. So you can see here, like if you're particularly interested in being a software engineer, that we provided the suggested list of courses. Now some of them have become like core courses, like 3560. And then if you're interested in data science, these are the list of courses we would suggest: game development, AI, cybersecurity. So you can actually, I mean, this is like only a suggestion. Okay, if you're interested in that particular area, try to take those courses. So these will prepare you to be, say, a cybersecurity analyst and so on. And then I would also encourage all of you try to either do internship or the senior project, these two options. So for internship, we offer internship opportunity for fall semester and spring semester. So if you're doing internship with another company, you can actually also earn elective credits through doing the internship, up to 2 units of those. The other thing is that you can also do senior projects with our faculty. So both of these will help you to gain like either teamwork experience, enhance your communication, all of your essential skills, learning about doing research, no matter it's at a company setting or working with a faculty member. These are very helpful things you can put on your resume to beef up your resume, to help you to be ready for the interviews and so on. So maybe Ed can even add more on that, how important those research experiences for students.
It's very, for lack of a better term, but no, it does make the student more competitive with when you have research and when you have internships. And you don't have to have a whole bunch, 1 to 2 is great. I always tell students, try to get at least more than 1 internship, so that way you can see both sides of a coin. You can see different fields. Sometimes students do an internship and they don't like it, and then they can try for a different one. But if you just do one, then it's like you really have no experience with other parts of the career or the career field. So internships will definitely play a huge role, not only in your competitiveness, but also in your knowing about the career field and in really loving it, really saying, this is what I want to do. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely echo on that part. And then, of course, consistent advising with our amazing advising center staff, and also me and Dr. Raheja, we're always there. Even in this remote setting, we have office hours that you can talk with us. If you have like particular career interests, you can ask us about what courses you can take, making suggestions and so on.
We did have a question in the chat, Dr. Tang, and it was, could we get some suggestion on how to land an internship?
I can start. You want, or
yeah,
I
can start.
yeah, it's not, I mean, it's simple. It's not always easy, but it is simple. And there was the website that was just shown. But I think, you know, the reason we're doing this workshop is that we want you guys to start thinking about these things. And the reason I come here is because I would love for students to reach out to me to be asking and developing that resume. So if you're a first year student, you should be creating a resume right now, okay? And the reason why is because as you create the resume, you're gonna see a lot of holes in your resume going, uh-oh. And that way you're gonna be knowing, oh, I need to be involved in a club. I need to maybe think about, you know, these different things. And so it starts now. So if you don't have a resume, you need to make one. That's the first step to getting an internship. After that, you know, talk with your professors. Your professors are very knowledgeable of the industry. They know certain folks. They can reach out, right? And then the Career Center, we have Handshake, which is our software system that has all kinds of jobs and internships in there. And I'll tell you right now, computer science, there's lots of opportunities in there. So getting a resume ready, connecting with your professors, and visiting the Career Center is a start.
Mm-hmm. I would add more on that. Like, for example, some of the industrial people, they usually approach to me to share the opportunities. So I usually share that with the CS major email list to check for your emails. And joining the clubs, that will really be helpful as well, because you need to start building your network. Okay, networking with current students, because for those clubs, they're also going to invite alumni back to give a presentation and so on. Creating that network is really helpful. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, so what resources, this was kind of already alluded to in the previous slide, but what resources do you have to support you? So as Dr. Tang mentioned, Dr. Tang and Dr. Raheja offer weekly office hours, info listed on Blackboard page and department website. And I know Diana put up the office hours in the link. There's also 6 student clubs with faculty advisors, She Code, CSS, a bunch of other clubs as well. Ed Venegas, who's on the call, who's been presenting. So Handshake, we talked about that, appointments. He also does drop-in hours 2 to 4 p.m. with College of Science Advising. So during our drop-in hours, he's available on Thursdays, 2 to 4. And then obviously the Advising Center. So planning for your future is definitely very important. Also looking through your degree progress report, knowing your degree requirements, knowing what's expected of you. That's also really important as well, making sure that you've completed all the GE areas, all the elective areas. So this is kind of your support team. So we have faculty, our faculty and department chairs. We have the Career Center at Venegas, and then you also have advising as well. So this is kind of your team of resources. In the Advising Center, we schedule appointments via CPP Connect on our website, and Diana put information about our website. We have drop-in hours, we have our Blackboard advising page, and we also have the CPP Connect planner, that new planner that was released as well. So there's a lot of resources to support you and help you in this process. All right, Ed.
Awesome. Okay, and so to help you guys with the poll, so you know, the Career Center has multiple ways to assist students. So we do offer career counseling sessions, and so you can meet with the career specialist, and it doesn't always have to be resumes or I need to find a job. I get students who come in, they're just like, you know, what can I search for? What should I search for? Right? Maybe they're in a major, they like it, but they're just not sure what they can do with that. And so, you know, sitting down, having a discussion would be a really great thing to do. We also have drop-in advising sessions. And so Monday through Friday, we have drop-in advising hours from 11 to 3 p.m. It's via Zoom. So all you do is send an email to careercounseling@cpp.edu. And if you happen to have a resume or a cover letter, so like I was saying, if you don't have a resume, you're not sure how to put one together, you can meet with me, or if you can't, you can always use the drop-in hours and you can meet with somebody, and we have peer advisors, so student workers, and a counselor who can help you put something together. And then also we have assessments. So this is important. you know, of all the things that I highlighted, I was thinking about, okay, for this workshop, what is something I want students to know? And so when you're trying to figure out what you're going to do for a career and trying to figure out your career plan, assessment is step one. You need to do assessment. And it doesn't mean that the assessments we give are, you know, everything and all, but it's just like a compass. It kind of gives you a direction, knowing where you're going to go. So we have 3 assessments at the Career Center, right? And so there's the Myers-Briggs type indicator, which is your preferences, strong interest inventory, which is your interest, and then strengths quest, what is your strengths. And so what we'll do is you put those 3 facets together. So instead of getting 1 dimension of who you are, we're going to get 3 dimensions of who you are. And knowing that about yourself, you're going to be able to go into a career field or choose career fields that are aligning with who you are, right? And so, for instance, one thing I like to do with Myers-Briggs is I tell students, we go through a sense of purpose type. And so, for instance, if you have, let's say, NF, which is intuitive feeling, those people love to help, they like to empower, they like to create new ways for people to achieve their goals. So if you're a computer scientist, you know, let's say you're going to be designing the interface, you're really going to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes. You're going to have that empathy, and you're going to create something that's going to help people to understand how to use maybe or operate a system much easier than somebody who's just into data, right? And so taking those things and those strengths are going to help you be successful in a career field and or help you choose it, okay? And then we have the handshake login. So there's our logo. Some of you have seen it, maybe some of you have not heard about it, but handshake is something that you want to check and use as much as possible. Handshake is where you post jobs and internships, but we also have information sessions. Information sessions mean that employers, recruiters, will host workshops and presentations through Handshake. And what you'll do is you'll go onto Handshake, you'll find it. There's a lot of computer science tech related information sessions that happen. And so the unfortunate thing, not unfortunate, it's good, but I would love for more computer science students to show up because we get a lot of engineers that show up to this stuff. And I always look to see, and I see maybe a few computer science. So if you guys can go on to Handshake and start using this, you know, and I think we'll do a workshop on this actually one day. We can show students how to use it. But I would love to see computer science using this more often because engineers take advantage of it. And I would love for you guys to do that. Okay. So these are the ways we can help you. Please connect with the Career Center. We can help you in more ways than you think. I once had a student, I'll tell you a quick story. He came in for drop-in advising and he asked me, are you a computer science major? Do you have a degree? And I said, no. And he goes, well, how can you help me? And I said, well, sit down and let's see how I can help you. And when we were all said and done, he said he was glad he came and met with me because we turned his resume into something where it communicated his accomplishments and his skill set. So my job is not to be technical, but my job is to make sure that you guys are highlighting all your skills, that you're able to market yourself and network and talk to employees. And that way it makes you the best candidate when you're interviewing. So that's what I can do, okay? So yeah, thanks, Ashley.
All right, great. Thank you, Ed.
Mhm.
Okay, so up next we have Chris, who is actually an alumni from computer science. He graduated, oh gosh, a few years ago now, when spring 2019, spring 2018. But we invited Chris to kind of share a little bit about his story, what he did as an undergrad, and then kind of what he's doing now. So maybe Chris, if you want to share for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then we'll open it up for questions and kind of wrap up here.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Chris. I work at Funimation in Dallas, Texas. I did get my job through an internship I had at Sony Pictures Entertainment in Culver City. And to give a little background as to who I am and how I got it was that I graduated with a pretty low GPA, a 3.25. I didn't really have that going for me, but there were a lot of things I did to juggle work and school that really helped me get my internship at Sony Pictures as a database engineer. At the time, I was working at the Rose Bowl part-time as a supervisor or a cashier. And then I had two and a half internships during my school year. And I started that during my junior year and I graduated in 4.5 years. So I really didn't have a strong educational background, but I had a really, really strong work ethic. So every time I had a job or I did an internship, I showed them like, hey, if you give me a chance, I will show you that I can do the job you ask of me, and anything I do not know, I'm willing to put in the time before, after, and during work to get to where you need me to be. And so at the Rose Bowl, I quickly moved the ranks through cashier to supervisor within a year. I had an internship at a finance company, a small, really, really small finance company. That's basically IT, but I learned how to work with a lot of different types of people, accountants, project managers, and especially the CEO. And so how to communicate properly and how to explain things that a lot of folks didn't know. And then in order to get those internships, I did a lot of outside of school work. So with Daisy Tang, I did a really strong Northrop Grumman co-op project that I did for 3.5, 4 years while I was over there. I realized that through that, I really didn't want to work in the private sector and military. So like what Ed said was that you should try multiple different internships, and if it's mostly for you to figure out whether or not you liked it and this is the type of environment you want to work in, I chose after a couple of years, like, this is not really what I want to do. I really enjoyed working in entertainment. So let me look at the what's out there as an entertainment working as a CS degree. And I chose that, oh, you can work in entertainment as an engineer. So let me just try and find jobs, my dream jobs that would be there. So I looked at Spotify, I looked at Pandora, I printed out all of my dream jobs there. I saw that the requirements were certain things like you need a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. It's like, okay, these are the requirements. These are the languages that I need to learn. How do I get there? If if I don't have enough time in school, if I don't have the classes that are not provided, how can I do that how can I do that outside of school? And so because I was able to map where I am and how do I get there, I worked slowly on being able to attain the skills I needed to get the job. So out of I think I talked to the hiring manager at Sony, like, how did I get this job? Well, out of 80 people we interviewed for this one position, you could manage and juggle three jobs. You also studied abroad, which a lot of people don't do in your major. And you really just stood out in terms of your maturity, in terms of and your work ethics. So we decided to take a chance on you because you said that you could do work in and outside of work because you like what you do. So that's how I pretty much got my job at Funimation, and I've been there for about 2 years now.
So just to answer, in case you were wondering what some of the questions were. So what is the most effective way to choose a major? Multiple choice. So let's take an assessment to see what kind of occupations relate to your interests. Switch majors twice over your time in college. Research an occupation of interest to ensure it aligns with your career goals, and ask someone that knows you well what you should major in. So it's kind of a tie. It was between take an assessment to see what kind of occupations relate to your interests and research an occupation of interest to ensure it aligns with your career goals. So it's kind of split down the middle. Ed, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about that.
Those are the right answers. There's 2 answers.
Okay.
So that was it. Yeah, they got it.
And then what is Handshake? So a way to greet others, a platform where students can go to make advising appointments and have holds removed from their accounts. A platform to utilize career center services, and I've never heard of Handshake. We had 87% of students say a platform to utilize career center services, which is correct. And then what will a degree in CS prepare a student for? So there was data engineer, game developer, machine learning engineer, and then all of the above, which was the correct answer. So lots of options for CS majors. All right. So now we want to just kind of open it up for questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So there was a question, do we need a PhD to be a professor? Dr. Tang or Dr. Hager want to answer that one?
Well, for four-year universities, you do need a PhD to be a tenure line professor. If you just want to be a part-time lecturer, a master degree in computer science will work. For community colleges, if you want to teach computer science at a community colleges, I think master degrees will be okay.
Just wanted to add that definitely if you have a PhD, you are much more competitive, even at the community college level, but of course it's not needed, as Dr. Tang mentioned.
To take the assessments via Career Center, is that a service I can just navigate to on my own, or do I need to schedule via Career Center?
Yeah, you could do both. So you can make an appointment with the career counselor and you put in assessment, and then we will sit down with you and ask you a couple of questions to see which assessment might be meeting your needs. But you can also send an email to the Career Center at career@cpp.edu and or career counseling at cpp.edu. You can do drop-in too. And you can just say, I'm interested in taking an assessment, and then the students or the counselor that's helping you will connect you with the assessment and set you all up. So they're free, you guys don't have to pay for them. So, you know, I would take some. I would say if you're an upperclassman, the strengths quest is gonna be a really good one for you to utilize. Because it's gonna really focus on your strengths. And I think that's something that you wanna know about as you're going into the world of work. And then the, if you're a student who's like not quite sure about where to go within your career field, I would say strong interest inventory would be something to look at. Okay, that's a good question.
Great, thank you, Ed. We have another question. Would you recommend doing an internship for the summer or take classes that I need to retake that are not prereqs?
Need to retake, like, okay. Well, it really depends on your personal plan. If you could find a secure internship for the summer, definitely that's great. Otherwise, you can take advantage of the summer school. We offer those different classes, which are generally easier to, secure a spot than regular semesters, particularly if you're interested in taking certain electives.
I also just wanted to add that this summer might be the only last chance, because since we are offering many classes most classes are online in summer, and some of them being asynchronous. So you even might be able to manage both an internship and taking classes at the same time. But obviously, we probably will be back on face-to-face next summer. So that might be possible this summer.
Yeah, correct.
All good questions. Another one, what should you do if you can't get an internship?
Projects.
Senior projects. Also, like Chris mentioned, he did a kind of like senior project with me, but it's like a more collaborative work with the other departments. Those are really good experience. Chris has been like, he was a team lead on a particular that project, which was, I believe, quite good experience for you, right?
Yeah, it was quite good. And any of the projects you do, whether it's required in your classes, throw it all on GitHub. Make it as nice as you can, because if you show that you have proof of work, it's another confidence booster and something that they do look at when you send in your resume.
Yeah, where were you gonna go, Daisy? Sorry.
Well, I just want to say, any experience that's like any related experience that's outside your classwork, they're really helpful, no matter it's project, internship, or even club activities, student
hackathons.
Yeah.
Hackathons are actually probably the funnest thing I did in college in terms of my CS degree. You meet a lot of students who are also on the same boat, and you guys work together to make really cool projects within 24 to 72 hours. And a lot of recruiters come out there and try and see what you guys can do.
Yeah, and I was going to add similar, like, so when I'm helping students with resumes and when I meet with recruiters and employers, it's amazing. Your major is like the only major where the employers and the recruiters really find your projects, your personal projects. Like it can be something you've done on your own. They really love that stuff. And like Chris said, you put it on a GitHub, even better. So
Absolutely.
yeah, you guys are all set. So just make sure if you're not getting an internship, you definitely can work on personal projects, but you do want to get an internship because that way you build your network. You're going to be connecting with people in the industry, and then they might ask for a letter of recommendation. And that's really going to help when you can get an industry person to write it for you. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't think about work alone by yourself. Teamwork, that's very essential. Okay. No matter what kind of chance you can get, that kind of experience will be good for you. And also to mention the one comment from the chat, don't just try to complete the classes and then graduate. Getting those extra experience will be super helpful.
I believe hackathons are held once a month, not at our school, but around Southern California.
There are many, different hackathon opportunities. Sometimes we forward those emails to the students. Those could be organized remotely from other universities. Our student clubs, they usually do a lot of those. And student clubs, they also do semester-long projects. They work on certain theme together and being supervised by our faculty advisors.
Yeah, so if you are interested, there are also all female hackathons, 24, 72-hour hackathons. You really don't have to prepare for that. They give you free food. They give you a place to work on it all day and all night. Some people just worked for 8 hours, slept for another 8, and other people like, I'm just here for the free food, and I'm just going to work on my homework over the weekend. And then anyone who does anything interesting, I would go up to them and ask them, hey, what are you doing? I'm interested. Can you show me what you're doing? Maybe I can help. And that's how you network.
All right, well, all great questions. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. There's, again, lots of resources. We have Dr. Tang, Dr. Rahasia, Ed, the Advising Center to support you all. And thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.